Christians must be reformative. Let's begin our Bible reading. I'm going to proclaim Mark 3:1-6, entitled The Purpose of Religion. Again, he entered the synagogue, and a man was there who had a withered hand, and they watched him to see whether he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. Sabbath is rest day. All works were banned. Healing was also banned because it was classified as a work. If you were not an emergency patient, you must not be cured. It was illegal to cure non-emergency patient on the Sabbath. There was a man having a withered hand in the synagogue. Was he an emergency patient? Not at all. Could he be healed? No, never. In the chapter 1, however, Jesus healed the possessed in the synagogue on the Sabbath. His case was non-emergency too. Nevertheless, Jesus healed him. So Jesus was very likely to heal the man of a withered hand, and they watched him to see whether he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Come here." Jesus said to him, "Come here. Eripe eis to meson." Rise up, come forth. Why did Jesus order him to rise up and come forth out of the congregation? Don't hide yourself among people. Come on here, he meant. And he would make this healing public. He wanted to let all Israelites know this. Why? It is because all the Israelites must know that it was obviously wrong to prohibit healing non-emergency patient, and it's perfectly right to heal him. And he said to them, "Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or to kill?" But they were silent. What is the purpose of Sabbath? Jesus asked. However, the question was so different from the conventional ones. Normally, a rabbi would ask, who is emergency or non-emergency patient, under the presupposition that healing be banned on the Sabbath. However, Jesus asked, which is better on the Sabbath to do, good or to do harm? It was a wrong question for the Jews because all works were banned on the Sabbath. However, Jesus asked them to choose one between doing good and bad, so they were silent. In Matthew 12:1, Jesus asked, "What man of you, if he has one sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not lay hold of it and lift it out?" The Palestine stretchrum includes limestone. There are many pits, so sheep used to fall into a pit all the time. What if it was on the Sabbath? Sheep is one of the weakest livestock. If you leave it in a pit, it's almost dead or eaten by wolves. Sheep can't save itself. You must save it. However, it was banned to lift it out because saving it was also a work. Working was a violation of the Sabbath law. At first, you could put a stick or plate into a pit so that the sheep might come out. However, most sheep failed to come out. Then you could lift it out. It was a violation of Sabbath to lift up a thing heavier than 1/4 of a dry fig. But the case of the sheep in the pit was regarded an emergency. So it was a non-violation of the Sabbath law to lift up a stick or plate hundreds of thousands times lighter than 1/4 of a dry fig. However, a man with a withered hand was regarded non-emergency. Next day, he could survive. So you must not heal him on the Sabbath. Then what was the criterion to distinguish emergency from non-emergency? It is physical injury, such as bleeding or breathing hard. However, the possessed in the chapter 1 and the man with the withered hand had no such physical injury at all. It meant that both of them would be alright the next day. So they were considered non-emergency. It was a violation of the Sabbath law to heal the non-emergency. Medicine at that time had never taken into consideration mental injury at all. People never knew how to see inside of the human suffering. People may kill or be killed due to trauma. So contemporary medicine regards mental injury as serious as physical. Even when CEOs, celebrities, successful people are on the edge, they become like a lamp in front of the storm. A few months ago, I visited a health center and found a poster. The most important health is mental health. It is not so long ago when we found mental health is so important. However, Jesus already knew it 2,000 years ago. At Jesus' time, people didn't recognize mental emergency as serious as physical. They wouldn't add mental health to the criterion of emergency. And in this case, the purity law was involved too. In Luke, the withered hand was his right hand. At that time, eating was done by a bare hand, right hand only. Why? It is because the legalists defined right hand as pure and apt to eating, while left hand as impure and apt to cleaning behind. And they believed that if they ate by their left hand, unclean spirits would come into their body. The purity law added by a superstition was distorted worse. This man of a withered hand was committing a sin every single meal. Not only physical inconvenience, but also guilty feelings were heavy burdens on his shoulders day by day. Of course, the purity law was subordinate to the Ten Commandments. It was less important. To us, washing hands is not a big deal. However, the Jews regarded it absolute and dedicated themselves to keeping it. Why? It is because they had the wrong definition of law. The Jewish law had three categories. First, the Ten Commandments. Second, subordinate laws. Third, regulations. According to Jesus, the Ten Commandments alone are the law of God, while all others that of human. However, the Pharisees taught that all other laws, subordinate legislations, and acts must be observed exactly the same as the Ten Commandments. So the law became multiplied from 10 to 430,000. According to Jesus, all legislations and acts made by the legalists were the human law, not the same as the divine law, the Ten Commandments. The difference between Jesus and the Pharisees resulted in that between to save life and to kill. Why does religion exist? According to Jesus, religion exists to save life. But the Judaism dedicated itself to killing lives. And he looked around at them with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. First, Jesus got furious. Second, he grieved. People suffer so much due to the wrong teachings of the false religion. God gave them religion as a gift. On the contrary, the religious leaders taught them to serve their religion. And the religious leaders condemned the sick or handicapped as sinners, which made them suffer from physical troubles as well as mental. The Judaism were eager to kill life rather than to save. It went opposite from the true purpose of religion. Jesus said their attitude is hardness, which literally means stubborn. Spiritually, idolatry. Stubborn was referred to Pharaoh, who resisted the exodus of the Israelites, and to King Ahab, who caused the kingdom of Israel to fall down due to his idolatry. The law is subordinate to human beings. However, the Bible teachers taught people to serve the law, so were the idol worshippers. In the chapter 2, Jesus said that God gave people Sabbath as a gift. The Sabbath law is one of the Ten Commandments. It means that all laws, even Ten Commandments, are subordinate to human beings. Jesus grieved deeply because they wouldn't get off the train to hell, despite his saving messages. Jesus was furious not only because they were rushing to hell, but also because they made people ride on the same train. He looked around at them with anger. He was very upset with the religious leaders. Stretch out your hand. Jesus ordered the handicapped man to stretch out. Does it make sense? However, he stretched out. He had wanted such a miracle to happen for so long. This man obeyed Jesus. The Jewish legalists loaded people with even more burdens on their shoulders rather than lift them off. A leper never loses its spots. The Pharisees went out and immediately had counsel with the Herodians against him, how to destroy him. The Pharisees and the Sadducees conspired to kill Jesus. The Pharisees took control over the public opinion, while the Sadducees, the politics. Both stick together, so the crucifixion of Jesus was just a matter of time. Both actually despised each other, but they became one to kill life on the Sabbath. They pretended not to work at all on the Sabbath, but worked hard to kill life. When the withered hand was restored, they were not glad at all. Why? It is because legalism had never paid attention to human souls and human sufferings. Rather, they were furious at Jesus due to his violation of the Sabbath law and anonymous to kill him. To them, he broke the law that was God himself. On the Sabbath, they were eager to kill life rather than save, just as Jesus pointed out right before. Religion lost its true purpose. In Mark 2:27, however, Jesus said that Sabbath was made for men, not men for the Sabbath. God gave us even the 10 Commandments as a gift. Law is subordinate to us. Legalism teaches human beings subordinate to the law. It is idolatry. In the actual world, legalism is strong and prosperous. It makes human beings the slaves of its religion. Why is legalism so prosperous? Human beings have a religious psychology that they want to be fools at religion. When controlled by laws, they are likely to feel much more comfortable. So, the sad reality is, legalistic religions prosper in the real world. But don't be discouraged even if you are not stronger than legalistic religions, because the truth of God is stronger than those. The truth of Jesus alone has the top value. Christians may be conservative, but conservatism is dangerous because it is very likely to fall into legalism. Legalism is our enemy. Christians must be reformative. Conservatism, to cherish its tradition, comes to an end to the stagnant water to resist the truth of Jesus. The truth of Jesus alone can make people keep on being reformative and refreshing the purpose of religion. Thank you for watching.